Hi, my name is Marlene Machmer and I've been studying great blue herons since 2002, focusing on their breeding and overwintering habitat use in the Columbia Basin. Herons typically breed in small to large heronries established within a kilometer of shallow water feeding sites in valley bottom wetland and riparian areas. They build stick nests in large trees, and both mature deciduous and coniferous stands are used. Breeding sites are occupied over many years if herons are not disturbed and can continue to raise young successfully. Over the last 20 years, I've witnessed dramatic declines in numbers of active and successful nests in the Columbia Basin. By 2017, numbers of active heron nests were down to less than half of the 354 nests I counted back in 2002. Many areas with historical breeding, the red circles, were no longer active, and average colony sizes in active heronries, the green circles, plunged to single digits for the first time ever. Heron declines are attributed to cumulative loss, degradation, and disturbance in key wetland and riparian habitats. Reservoir flooding, water level regulation, harvesting, land clearing, and recreational developments have all contributed to loss of suitable habitat for this species. In areas set aside for conservation, nest predation by corvids and eagles, as well as competition with stick nesting and fish-eating species, are displacing herons and impacting their reproductive success. This large heronry in Creston has been occupied for many decades. Growing numbers of nesting cormorants as well as breeding eagles that raid the heron nests have significantly impacted productivity. Heron population declines are very concerning and underscore the need for more conservation and stewardship directed at this provincially blue-listed subspecies. Herons are sensitive indicators of intact freshwater ecosystems, and they're also very prone to disturbance and displacement. The goals of this small Kootenay Connect project were to update heron breeding occupancy in the Columbia Wetlands, Wycliffe, Creston, and Bonanza Creek areas, and to implement conservation and stewardship actions at confirmed breeding sites. Survey approaches were consistent with previous years and included emails and phone calls to relevant landowner contacts, birding naturalist groups, and distribution of heron help wanted posters to solicit sightings information. In each focal area, sightings reported by the public were followed up. Surveys of previously active and good candidate sites were conducted to confirm nesting in late April. Occupied sites were revisited again in June to track reproductive success. Surveys in the Bonanza Creek corridor were only conducted in early June because of higher snowpacks and later spring thaw. A second search for heron fledgling activity was conducted in late August. 18 heron breeding sites were surveyed in 2020. 10 sites with 157 active nests were occupied. 7 of these breeding sites, with 154 active nests, were in the boundaries of the 4 focal areas. 2 were in the Creston Valley, 4 in the Columbia Wetlands, 1 in the Wycliffe corridor, and none in the Bonanza Creek corridor. 1 breeding site and 44 of the 154 occupied nests failed. Reasons for failures related to eagle corvid harassment and predation, coupled with nest site competition from cormorants. Stewardship follow-up was conducted with landowners and managers to ensure that disturbance around these sites is avoided and reported ASAP. Designated nest stewards were very active in 2020, and heron stewardship brochures were given out to landowners and neighbors at new sites. 1 of the 7 active sites on Crown land was eligible for wildlife habitat area designation. This upland site overlooks the Columbia Wetlands south of Nicholson. It has been reoccupied for several years with high productivity. After the breeding season, all 14 active nests were GPS mapped and a survey was conducted of the entire Crown land square parcel to identify high-value nesting habitat. The red WHA boundary includes all active nest trees, several alternate nest stands with age class 7 to 8 Douglas fir buffered from roads and human disturbance, as well as 2 small wetlands, nests of pileated woodpecker, brown creeper, and several nests used by cavity nesting ducks. A wildlife habitat application was submitted which is undergoing First Nations and public consultation prior to approval. These conservation and stewardship actions will be continued next year. Thanks to all our generous sponsors, nest stewards, and members of the public.